It's 7:13, so I guess we can go ahead and get started. We'll have the Borough Council Workshop meeting for October 5th, 2022. Let's go ahead and take the roll.
President Ferguson.
Here.
Vice President Gerard. Councilmember Fagan.
Here.
Councilmember Presser. Here. Councilmember Stevens.
Here.
Mayor Gerard. Borough Manager Snyder.
Here.
Borough Solicitor Harper.
Here.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the meeting agenda for tonight?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilor Stevens, a second from Councilwoman Presser. Any changes or amendments or comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? All right, we'll go to item 2, public input. Anyone from the public who would like to make a statement or ask a question, please stand and rise and talk to us. All right, having none, we'll go on to item 3, the announcements.
Next council meeting is October 19th. That's the regular meeting at 7:30 p.m. here in council chambers. The next planning commission meeting is scheduled for October 24th at 7 p.m. here in council chambers. Borough is scheduled to meet Wednesday, October 26th at 8 a.m. here in council chambers. The Hatfield Museum Historical Society is having an open house this Saturday, October 8th at 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The borough offices will be closed Monday, October 10th in observance of the Columbus Day holiday. Hatfield Borough Fall Park Cleanup is scheduled for October 29th at 9 a.m. at Heritage Park. And Halloween Happy Event is scheduled for Monday, October 31st, 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. here at the borough office.
All right, and I think Larry said they were having free drinks for the public at the. Make sure it's no, it's only water. So.
Free water.
All right, we'll go to item 4, reports from our standing committees and the mayor. So budget, labor, and finance. I don't think we really have much to talk about there, but we are about to start budgeting season. Planning, building, and zoning.
Yes, the committee met this evening and to discuss a number of ordinances that we're looking at, and we'll continue to fine tune them and get a copy to the rest of the council for their consideration.
Were those the renting chicken?
Yeah, the chicken, open burning, a leash wall, clothing and donation bins, and fireworks.
Fireworks.
Not going on.
Oh, okay. I thought the fireworks, there was no place within the borough that met the 120-foot requirement, if I remember that correctly?
That's correct.
Okay.
What about the ones I sent? Did you get,
Yes.
what were they? We said 3. One having to do with storage containers, which we would amend the zoning ordinance on. And the other was the leash law that had to go Township Police liked. And what was the third one?
I'm not sure which one you sent us.
We didn't send you the chicken one. That's why I was very.
The
Open burning. Did you get that one too?
Yes.
Okay, all right, just making sure.
Okay. Are these going to correspond with the same, or with the same ordinance as everything in the township, or is it going to be something?
The leash law is very similar to the townships.
Okay. Just the leash.
I don't know what, that's the only one we discussed. With them.
Right,
So-
because the police enforce that one as opposed to the zoning officer enforcing the clothing bin one, so we don't have to make sure that there's.
Right, right.
Technically, the leash law doesn't either, but it's gonna be easier to enforce, for the police if they have the same law in both places.
Mhm. All right, any other questions? Public safety?
We haven't met as of recently, but I'm sure we're gonna be getting together soon to go over a few things.
Okay. Public works, property, and equipment?
Yes, we did meet on September 14th to discuss a number of items, one of which was our strategic planning overview that Steve went through very detailed, that we went through at the workshop meeting for the budget as well, with his, his budget list and his 5-year roadmap and equipment plan. We also discussed the upcoming banners for the winter and summer season, so we chose those. We'll have them up for the upcoming holidays. We also need, the committee asked for a little bit, I believe, of clarification regarding the water feature out front. So we had brought that up previously, and I don't think we ever decided on a specific, I know we didn't have a specific design. So I think we've narrowed it down pretty much to one feature that I'm pretty sure we're recommending as the committee to install. But I'm not sure what other information, or really just making sure the rest of the committee was on board, because it was a little unclear where we left off with that at the last meeting. I think it was in the early summer. We last discussed it at a meeting. So we do have a water feature if you guys are interested. I don't know if
We
you
have a concept for a water feature?
no, we have a specific
Okay.
one picked out that I don't know if you have it available to show them. Yeah, but it's round. It's the biggest one that we could find that was round, sphere, stone that's like kind of layered up. So if you guys do want to go forward with the water feature, we can certainly figure out what else we need to do to get that moving forward. So I don't know if you have any specific questions about that.
No, is it similar to the one you see at the Lansdale train station?
It's a mini kugel ball. Yeah, no, it's not going to rotate or anything like that. But that's what I said. It would be like our own little kugel ball. But it's just a fountain that, and then there's a base at the bottom that it refills itself and all that. So we talked a little bit about the logistics, and, looking out there, it is a little bare. So I do think it would look nice with something, operating there. So Steve might actually have it available. I don't know if we can show that by any chance, just so that know what we're talking about.
From there, I'm sure.
Email.
Yeah, we can email it to everybody, so we can all
Yeah.
be on the same page about.
Well, yeah, why don't I do that? I'll email it to all councils.
Yeah,
That
perfect.
way everybody has a chance to look at it.
Okay.
And the other thing we went over was the upcoming roadway resurfacing and ADA projects, which are ongoing and will be more in the upcoming year. So we talked about that as well.
Okay. I was curious, I was thinking about this earlier, do we have a year that we're gonna get all these completed by?
The ramps,
Yeah.
Which ramps?
the ADA,
So we've been going through like area by area to try and get these done. Is there an estimated year we're gonna get them all?
well, there's at least how many for next year?
There was at least 8 that I definitely want to do next year. As far as all the ramps within Hatfield Borough, you want my honest opinion? It's gonna be never ending. What would end up happening, and it's happened time and time again, is at some point, they're gonna change the standards on ADA compliance.
Okay,
And
so,
this is just an updated thing that they go through every so many years, that they decide that 3.4% slope is not acceptable anymore. Now it has to be 3.1% slope. So
I got it. My question is more about what we're doing now. Do we have an estimated date when that's gonna be done?
no, because we're not sitting there looking to just say, okay, let's just go through and get everything in Hatfield Borough. I'm trying to strategically do the ramps ahead of mill and overlay schedules.
Mhm.
So that way the ramps are done prior to mill and overlay, this whole disruption with the roads. And also the cost. I mean, they're quite expensive projects to get into. So I can figure out how many ramps we have, and roughly if you do X amount per year, how many years you'll have all of them done.
Okay. No. So,
But by the time you're done, you're gonna have to go back to where you started and then start doing those ramps again anyway.
Okay.
Because not to mention, they're gonna deteriorate over years.
Right.
okay.
And that was about it, I believe. Actually, we did touch on a few other things, but I don't have it in front of me, so. It was a lengthy meeting, though, I assure you.
That's not very nice. Yeah, it was. Okay. Any questions for Public Works Department equipment? All right, Utilities Committee, did Rich, since he's not here, I'm sure he doesn't have a report, did he give anything to you, Jim? Okay,
No, he just submitted the HROG report, but I can add for utilities. that I know is part of my manager's report, but we did have shut-offs scheduled in September, and we will have shut-offs again scheduled in October for delinquencies for electric, and we will look into delinquencies for sewer as well, just so we can keep on top of this before we go into the winter moratorium where we will not be shutting anybody off.
Any updates
I have
on?
one question on utilities. My calendar says that we have an electric contract expiring at the end of the year. Do we?
No, we have our power purchase agreement through 2032.
Okay, we're good. Just making sure we don't get the light shut off.
Is there any update on the behind the meter?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say,
Um,
no, but Steve can add some more detail to the no.
I believe Power Secure was scheduled to be on site the last 2 days. I don't know if that happened or not because I was not in town the past 2 days. I've been in Lansdale for trainings. So I don't know if that happened, but they were supposed to be in town doing some tweaking on PP&L's devices, their SCADA system that they requested. So that's the last I've heard. And in these meetings, I was in meetings with guys from Blakely Borough, who also, they're like right neck and neck with us as far as scheduling. And talking to those guys, it sounds like they're right at the same point as we are, maybe just one step ahead. They said PP&L was in doing testing on theirs, so we should be up next. But as of right now, not commissioned, not fully online, still waiting on PP&L.
Okay. Any questions? How about Hurrock?
You have the report submitted by Rich. I just want to make one minor correction. Last item on there, the new park bench that has not been installed yet in Centennial Park. But there is a family interested in fully paying for one to be installed there as a memorial. You don't anticipate doing that this year yet, do you?
Maybe.
Okay.
I received the price. I sent it over to Jamie. Jamie's gonna reach out to the person that's interested. The only thing I'm still waiting, I haven't gotten done yet, is a rough estimate on some sort of like memorial plaque to go on. And that's on my agenda to do tomorrow.
Okay.
So once I get all the information, all the pricing, Jamie will reach out to the people that's interested and communicate that with them and see how they want to move forward.
Do we need to have that in place before we get the bench, or is it something that we would just kind of back charge them for if they wanted to put a plaque on? Does that make sense? So can we put the bench in first and then add the plaque later?
We can, but this,
I don't know if we want to do that, I'm just asking the question.
this individual is looking to pay for the bench itself.
Mhm.
So they want to buy the bench at what our cost is to buy the bench and also pay for the plaque as well. So I would need some sort of agreement from them that they are going to buy this, or I don't know how you would handle that portion of it, the property owners. But I don't have to have the plaque in hand to put the bench in.
No, but I guess the question is we already want to put the bench in.
No, this was not something that I had planned to do.
Oh, okay, so this is in addition to.
Yes.
I got it. I thought it was something we'd already planned out, so.
So all the benches and tables and, stuff that I want to do this year, that's done.
Okay,
So this is like you said, in addition to what I had already planned to do.
okay,
So if they weren't coming forward with this, we wouldn't be doing it.
okay. Yeah, one of the things that, when I think about the parks is, what is it, what do we want to have in the parks 10 years from now, right? Benches, tables, a dog, leash-free fenced-in area. I'm just throwing out ideas. So we should probably start sitting out and mapping that out and figure out what we want, versus kind of do a piecemeal, So, not sure what that would look like. I'm not sure who would engage to do that, but it might be good to start thinking about that.
Yeah, I know previously, this was before that I worked here, but there was like a survey that went around like town. It was like, hey, at Heritage Park, what would you like to see? Gazebo, water fountain, basketball court, like to engage the citizens of the community, like, hey, where do you see this park 10 years from now? I know basketball court was one of the top things, and then that was even brought up when we were approached by the Meadows community and some residents about putting a basketball court in. So I know we can I would love to have resident feedback and citizen participation in it and then see where that goes. I know Steve and I have talked about even just playground equipment, specifically to Centennial Park, because we get dinged for our insurance, just because it's aging equipment and there's not replacements for it. So kind of mapping that out, maybe mapping some park equipment, but then also looking more towards what do we want to see at the parks, you know, for the next 10 years and kind of get some feedback from citizens and to see what they want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
All right, if there's nothing else, Field Action Committee is pretty much disbanded, so we'll go on to the mayor's report. I don't know if the mayor has given you anything to report out today.
Yeah, in the packets this evening, she submitted her report. She highlights the Heritage Park cleanup on October 29th, beginning at 9 a.m. She's working with resident Ann Moore on this. It's been posted on the Borough website and the Facebook page, and she encourages everyone to participate. She also wanted everyone to, she will be attending the next Northern Montco Recycling Commission meeting on October 13th. And she will provide updated information on the grant money and when it should be released after that meeting.
Any questions? All right, if not, we'll go to item number 5, reports and correspondence, the monthly investment report.
Monthly investment report was in your packets. As you can see, down again the last month, but on our next budget, finance and labor, we're going to discuss some options for investments moving in the future based on the rate of the treasury notes are at right now at 4.1% for the 2 years. So that'll be a discussion that budget, finance and labor will be having. How do we want to see these investments? Where do we want to see them in the future?
Yeah, because we spoke too soon after May. So. All right, monthly EIT and LST.
Monthly EIT and LST was in your packets. For the EIT, year-to-date total of 361,500. That's up from last year, which was in a year-to-date total was 324. So looks like we're meeting our budget projections for EIT, and also LST for year-to-date is 36,644, which is roughly 6,000 higher than we were in 2021. So both seem to be on track of meeting those budget projections.
Monthly year-to-date.
The monthly year-to-date report is not in your packets. Treasurer Diane Farrell wanted me to let council know that for the monthly year-to-date report, when we get, it's basically based on she goes against our bank statements, which come in, you know, I just got them this morning. So for her to get the year-to-date report into the workshop packet is difficult. So she was curious how you guys wanted to proceed moving forward, if you would like it as part of the regular meeting, or if you like it as part of this meeting, if it would be okay if she was just a month behind. So basically in November, you would see the October, you know, in December, you would see the November. It's just because how the workshop meetings are, sometimes they're even on the first of the month and we don't have the statements, and she correlates what she reported in her system versus state bank statements. So just so she checks everything out. So she just, I said, hey, I'll ask council at the meeting how they want to proceed, and that's how we'll proceed. I know you guys like the report. So just, do you want to see it at the regular meeting, or is it okay to kind of be a month behind? A lot of times the cash report, if you look, that's a month behind.
I guess my vote would be to just have it at the regular meeting. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys are good with that, I'll just make it a standing item at the regular meeting instead of a standing item at the workshop meeting.
Okay. All right, police department.
In addition to what's in the report, just on the hiring front, we had a resignation in the police department. So now we are down 2 officers and we are doing polygraphs. Actually, we just finished up the second round of polygraphs with the hopes to get those 2 positions that were down hired, hopefully by the end of October.
that's not gonna impact your ability to cover the borough or the township. Probably more overtime, is that what you get?
That's always an option. So we do have two in field training right now, so we tend to adjust anyway when we have brand new ones that aren't fully their own officer yet. They're with their FTOs, so we have to adjust that way. So we'll be all right.
Any instances you want to highlight for the month?
It was a fairly quiet month, knock on wood.
Election season's about to hit, I'm sure that'll change, so.
It'd be nice if it didn't.
All right, fire department report?
Fire department report was in your packets. I'll highlight for the first 9 months of 2022. There have been 39 calls in Hatfield Borough with a year-to-date of them responding for 230 over the response per municipality where they were in their first due or helped out adjacent communities.
Do you know if that's down or how it compares to this time last year?
About the same.
I'm saying, okay. Any questions? All right, how about the EMS report?
So there was no EMS report included in your packet this month. I did send an email out to all of council just to let you know that the VMSC went down to Florida. They had sent a truck and they were helping out those impacted by the hurricane. So I know some of the people that personally had went, and it's a really great experience to have somebody so local in our community to be able to go down there and help those in Florida. So just grateful that they're able to participate in the FEMA program and go down and help those in need. So if Chief gets a report to me, I'll make sure I include it in the regular meeting packet, as I know we'll probably have some updates of like their responses in Florida.
Any questions? All right, public works.
So I had one attachment because I had an error on my part that you all should have in your spot right now to go along with this, and it was for the outage report for September 7th. Really, there was no outage, but it's just the name of the report that I make up for whenever there's some kind of electrical incident. It was just a utility pole that had fallen down. We basically received a call. I had received a call from David Weiss earlier in the day saying that a resident called in saying the pole was leaning, the wires were really low. Walked out there, saw how low they were, saw the pole leaning. Called our secondary electrician because there was no primary on this pole, so I called our secondary electrician and said, I'll be out there first thing tomorrow morning. We'll replace the pole, we'll get it taken care of. About 3 hours later, Jamie and I were on our way to Penn State for the PMEA conference, and I got a call from some of the guys in the Public Works Department saying that pole that was leaning is now laying on the ground. So we called Ennis Electric, they came out right away, got the pole, a new pole in, and got everything rehung. Basically, the cause of it was, for once, no vehicle, tractor trailer, or anything like that hit it. It just rotted away at the base, and I think all the moisture in the water in that area just increased that, or decreased the life expectancy. The only other thing, like I said earlier, all the park tables and benches have been completed for this year. So everything's in Centennial Park and Heritage Park. And we did have an overtime call out last week on Penn Avenue for a clogged sewer leak. Something we don't get a lot of, thank God, but we had to experience this one, and it was not a fun one. So we got it taken care of. I was able to call in Hatfield Township Municipal Authority that came out with their truck and helped us out to clear the clog and get everything flowing again.
Any assignable calls for what caused it?
The sewer clog?
Yeah.
Grease.
Grease.
From a restaurant in town?
I can't say for sure, but there is a decent sized apartment complex or apartment building just upstream from where the clog was. I can't put all the blame on them, but I'm kind of going off of where the sewer authority said the distance from the manhole and where they said they felt the clog, and it was about where their lateral ties into the sewer main. So it's just an accumulation of grease over God knows how many years.
So we should have our code officer check and see if they have a grease trap.
I doubt they're gonna have a grease trap on an apartment complex. A restaurant would be one thing, but.
I agree with you. I'm just saying, if we don't require that, maybe we should.
Yeah.
You know, so that we don't have this problem. This is a big problem. when it
It's happened, I mean, most of the sewer problems that we've had have been problems caused by accumulating grease over a long period of time.
Right.
It's like a clogged artery, you know, it's been happening for years, and just at one point, it just, that's it, no more is getting through. And then everybody upstream has the consequences.
Well, you can share that report with the code officer. We'll see if we have the ability to force them to do a grease trap, and if not, we'll fix the regulations so we can. I think we also adopt the Hatfield Municipal Authority regulations by reference or something, and they might have it. So,
How much does it cost to bring in the help to get that unclogged?
I don't know, I'm still waiting on the bill.
Do you have an idea of what it might be? I'm gonna be talking $500 or 20 grand, so.
Oh, no, if I had to make a wild guess, I'd say probably in the $1,000 to $2,000 range.
Okay.
To bring two of their guys in with their vac and jetter truck for, it's a minimum 4 hours for their guys.
Okay.
So,
And they went in, they cleaned out all the grease and everything. Okay.
they're who you call for something like this. They have whatever capabilities is needed to do this kind of work. So my other options are very limited. We have the infrastructure, but we don't have a back truck. We don't have a jetter truck. You know, there's.
No, I would expect you
I'm
guys.
sure I can redo that equipment.
No. I think the equipment list is quite big enough. Thank you very much. So, all right. Anything else for Public Works?
Getting into our favorite time of year, which is trimming all the treescape trees and getting ready to hang all the holiday decorations. So just going from one busy season right into another.
You said it with such enthusiasm.
Thanks, Larry. Guys, we're checking all the light bulbs and all the snowflakes today.
Never a dull moment.
I did say to Larry, like Jimmy said, we talked about, we just picked banners, seasonal banners for the summertime and the wintertime. They were ordered, they have arrived. I did mean to bring them. I asked Jamie this morning if I should bring them, and she said, yes, that's a good idea. Obviously, I forgot. So I will have them here for the regular meeting.
You want to string them up around the room, show people?
Yeah, I'll put all of them up and just hang them. Now, I'll have one of each here so you guys can see what they look like. They look really good. I'm happy with how they turned out.
And I am not sure if it was in your report or not, but are you guys doing anything to get ready for snow season as far as salting and plowing and everything? It's the equipment. That's not even on the docket yet.
It is and it isn't.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've looked at the amount of salt we had. Pretty sure you might have said, you did, there was a resolution, I think, last meeting for the salt bid. So I've looked at how much salt we have in the bid currently. We have more than enough to get started. I'm not gonna jump the gun and order 100 tons of salt when I don't know what's gonna happen yet. So, you know, for at least the end of this year, I have more than enough salt unless we get hit with some crazy winter early. I have more than enough salt. All of our plows have just basically been checked over at the end of last year, power washed, all the bolts been tightened, everything's been greased. So we're not gonna wait till we hear the first snow's coming, but we'll be on top of it before. It's one thing you're not gonna have to worry about with us. When it comes to snow removal, we're on top of it.
I'm going to just get my neighbor to quit complaining to me about you guys. So.
She can come out and drive with us.
No, it's more of like as you're plowing, sometimes you block driveways, which is what happens, so.
I can try to put it in the middle of the street, but I don't know how well that's gonna work.
No.
There will be an article in the newsletter coming up that is like tips on how to shovel, like to try to avoid being plowed in with your driveway. We have done that before. We've done that it might have been like 2013, and we were trying to think of stuff in the new newsletter, and I was like, I know that if you put it to the side, it's not a catch-all, it won't do everything, but I do know there is like a method. If you would shovel a certain way and place it a certain way, you would less likely to have your driveway in. So that will be an article in the newsletter coming up. So maybe that will help. Anyway.
No, I think it's great, so. All right, anything else, Mr. Steve?
I'm good.
All right. Anything else for Steve for Public Works? All right, how about our engineering report?
Draft report was included in your packets. Just gonna highlight that, we're continuing to work on the Broad Street Storm Sewer and North Main Street Storm and Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project. We're working to, try to work through the zoning hearing board decision. We talked about at the last meeting for 200 North Main Street. We've had a couple on-site meetings. We've had some meetings with the solicitor. We're going to have some meetings with Hatfield Township. So we're working through that process. We're really hopeful to try to get this bid package put together and a bid out by the end of the year. We really want this project to a shovel in the ground in 2023. I think it's a long time coming, and it's something we want to see, and we're working really hard to try to get that accomplished. I will also add on the back page, there was an MS4 under miscellaneous. And Steve, you can more than welcome to chime in on this because he was part of it. Just want to bring to your attention, there was a preliminary design for Heather Meadows Stormwater Basin retrofit. That's been completed, and we've also been doing pathogen screening for the basin. And they found out that pathogens exist within the basin watershed, and the annual report will now be submitted to PED for review. So if Steve, you want to highlight on those two items, just because it's something a little bit more involved for MS4 for those two projects.
It is. It's something that we haven't had to do before. So this is the first time we've had to do this. It's basically water tests, almost like if you have a swimming pool and you test the water. It's very similar to that, but you're basically testing for, in essence, fecal matter. Making sure that your sanitary sewer and your storm sewer are separated. There's no sanitary sewer infiltrating into the storm sewer. That's kind of the idea of it. We tested the Heather Meadows pond. We tested the basin at Heather Meadows, the inflow pipe where the water comes in from, and we also tested the outflow. The idea of testing inflow as opposed to the outflow, it's the idea of the pond and all the cattails is it's supposed to more or less clean the water. It's supposed to be sort of self-cleaning. And it did prove through the report that the water level was a better quality level exiting the retention basin than what it was entering. But it still found pathogens in the water. We don't know what that means at this point, considering that most of the water that comes into the basin is actually coming from Hatfield Township. Because let's face it, all the water that comes into the Hatfield Borough, except for those stuff in the sky, comes from Hatfield Township. That's just the way it works. So the reports have all been submitted to DEP. We're just waiting to see what they come back with, what our next action is going to be for that.
Can you tell whether the pathogens are animals like Canadian geese?
No.
You can't. So we don't know whether maybe
Exactly.
there's some wildlife that's contributing.
The pond is less concerning than the retention basin. Right? Pond, I would be more expected to see something like that. The retention basin should be primarily just rainwater, storm sewer runoff. So to find pathogens in that says that something is going on. Now, to what level, we don't know. It could, honestly, it could be something as simple as the fact that storm sewer pipe that enters the retention basin is at a lower elevation than the pond. So it's natural infiltration from the pond going in, feeding that way. That could be the answer. But it's going to have to be something that we look into going forward. Find the source of this. Where is it coming from?
Okay, because I do remember that the people in Heather Meadows complained about the geese. And then we let the foliage grow up to try to discourage that. I don't know if it worked or
And then
not.
there was complaints about that.
Yeah,
I know, as I said, I know the rain garden area next to that is there's always animals in it, so lots of deer, but it sounds like it's probably coming from somewhere else.
Yeah, and, you know, we've observed these, you have to wait X amount of days, I believe it's 3 days after your last rain event to take your samples and to observe these outflow portions. And we did this, and there was still a steady stream of water coming into the retention basin 3 days after we've had rain. Doesn't necessarily mean anything, it could be a natural spring somewhere that's just seeping in. You don't know. So, like I said, it's just something that we're gonna have to look into going forward.
is there any possibility that it could be a pipe from somebody's basement? Like some people connect their sump pumps
It,
to the, you know, and
there's 100 different things it could be. It could be a water service or a water main leaking somewhere that's just following a path and entering the storm sewer. Now, that wouldn't have fecal matter in it. That would be that would be treated water. But this constant flow could be a number of different things.
And so what becomes our expectation of us having to manage how to fix that?
I would say it's gonna depend on where the infiltration is coming from. Obviously, if it's within Hatfield, if we determine that hypothetically, if there's a sanitary sewer pipe that's broken, leaking into the storm sewer system, and it's within Hatfield Borough and it's our sanitary sewer pipe, that's gonna fall on us to make sure we get it fixed. If it's something that we find out is happening outside of our municipality, it's not gonna fall on us. It's gonna be brought to the attention of the owner of that pipe that they need to fix it.
So at some point, we're gonna have to do studies to determine where it's coming.
Right.
Can we televise?
Possibly. It's an option.
I mean, it might cost some money, but it might be a way to figure it out.
And right now, the next step we're gonna do is I'm gonna go to the furthest point upstream on the storm sewer inlets that lead into that retention basin and gather another water sample. And see what that water, get that water tested, see what those results are, and check it with the ones that were enters the basin. Are they, you know, pretty much the same? Is the latest one I get, is that pretty much perfectly clean rainwater? That narrows down the location.
Do you have to do that all at one time? So when you do the retention basin, you have to do those points as well at the
You
same
don't have
time?
to now.
Okay. Is it better to do it at the same time so you can correlate the data on this?
Maybe.
I'm asking, I don't know.
I honestly don't know the answer, the proper answer for that.
Okay.
That would be something I would rely on Gus for.
Okay.
He's the MS4 guru
And what's the timing for this?
for the next water sample. I'm hoping by the end of this week, I'll get the sample and then maybe a week or two, they'll have the results.
Okay. And how frequently do you have to do these tests?
I think it's just, I'm not sure if it's once a year or if it's once or every permit term. What, a 5-year permit term? So we're coming to the end, like March of 2023 is the end of our first permit term.
Okay.
This is the first time we've done these. So I believe it's just once in your permit term, you have to test the water.
Okay.
So, but depending on or because of the results, that may be different now for us until we determine what the problem is. And DEP might honestly look at the results and they might say, those levels are nothing, they're not high enough. So we don't know. Like I said, we're waiting to see what DEP has to come back with.
And it mentions here that the preliminary design of the stormwater basin has been completed. So that's the design that's been completed, or has the actual retrofit that hasn't started yet?
The design has been completed.
Okay.
It's a rear wall structure that's getting built just inside of the dam itself, the concrete dam structure. So the design has been completed. I'm working with trying to figure out how to construct it.
Mhm.
It's not an easy area to work. So
Is that what's the time frame next year or the year after? 2040?
supposed to be by the end of March, or by the end of our permit term.
Huh?
March 2023.
Has to be implemented by March 2023.
We can talk about it for a while. Any other questions? All right, zoning officer, building code, property maintenance.
Bob's report was included in the packets. Pretty similar to months past, just one notice of violation on South Main Street that he's continuing to look into and should be resolved shortly.
That's been resolved. I think as of today. You're talking about the 464 stuff?
I looked for it, I didn't see.
It wasn't there, yeah, it's gone as of today.
Okay,
All right, good.
But I would say it was probably sometime this afternoon or early evening, because I know at the end of the day, it was requested for Bob to call the owner tomorrow morning. So then the owner must have gone out there and resolved it.
Seems as if every year we get someone puts a big sign up somewhere, and it's before we take it out, so. And they did say what the sign was, celebration of the Wizard of Oz.
I'm not sure, I didn't talk to her, but when Bob talked to her, I know she was very understanding and compliant, and there was no pushback.
I signed the yellow brick road.
Now, if they paint the sidewalk yellow, then that's.
Yeah, that- Different.
All right, any questions? All right, we'll go to fire marshal, safety and inspection.
There was no report included in your packets. I do know that Bob and Katie are working on fire safety inspections. Katie has sent out any delinquent notices for those who have not paid year to date. As a final reminder, pay with the late fee attached. So some of those have actually been coming back in.
It's in the code report, it says fire inspector. Yeah. Done.
Questions? All right, pool advisor.
There is no report in your packet. I believe the next meeting that they're gonna have per last meeting is October. They were gonna meet and start talking about their budget. So, I'll reach out to Caitlin and hopefully maybe she'll have a report for the November meeting, what they decided. They're talking about rates for next year or anything.
Be curious to see how the attendance was this year. And financial, how they did financially this year. If we get some information too, just out of curiosity. All right, so no questions, we'll go on to the manager's reports.
Few things I'd like to highlight from my report. One, in land use and development updates, we received a new sketch plan for 23 North Main Street. Chad is currently reviewing this along with Anton. It's just a sketch plan, so there was no formal submission. I have reached out to the developer to see when he can attend the next planning commission meeting and the next council meeting. I'm not sure if that's going to be the October planning commission and the November council, or that's going to be the December planning commission and the December council. If you remember talking briefly, this is where the old Moyer Keller property is next to the post office, proposing, because it's in the core commercial district, proposing commercial on the bottom and some apartments on the top. But right now, we're just waiting to hear back from the developer to see when he can come and talk to the planning commission and council. We will have Chad's review and Anton's review. Next, East Lincoln Avenue Bridge replacement under 2021 outstanding project updates. This is on for discussion this evening, but we're working through the reimbursement process. Orchard Forest Way CDBG sanitary sewer project. The county paperwork was approved and we got notice today that we should be receiving our $200,000 reimbursement check on October 7th for that. So that's good news that that project's finally closing out and we can get our money back so we can start paying off some of our debt. Under the 2022 project updates, just wanted to note that the CTP Firehouse flasher grant, last night I received a call from the firehouse that the flashers were out. Steve went out today, or they were not working. Steve went out today and he did some troubleshooting, just on the electric, and there isn't any problem on our end. They had enough voltage, and when he turned it to the manual on and off, they did work. So there's something going on, and we reached out to the contractor, and the contractor is going to work to schedule to come in to look into that to see what the issue is. Items of interest I wanted to talk about, included in your packet, was the Hatfield Township golf outing. If anybody is interested, I know that it's on Monday, but you certainly can, show up and, have some conversations if you're interested. Wanted to bring to your attention that the tastings, I had sent an email, it was October 25th. If you're interested in attending, please let me know, so I can let the chamber know how many people from Hatfield will be attending the event. And just wanted to highlight that this week is Public Power Week. I think the borough this year is trying to put more of a good faith effort into talk about public power, show what public power is, talk about how important it is to Hatfield Borough. So some things that are going on this week is we have a coloring contest that we've been advertising on social media. We encourage parents to bring their children in, pick up some coloring sheets, coloring pages. There'll be prizes for the top winners. Hopefully we can display them downstairs. Light bulbs are given out all week, so if you come in the Hatfield Borough office and you mention public power, you can get a free LED light bulb. Today, you get a free light bulb. Today we had the Public Works bring up the bucket truck. So the bucket truck was out front from 10 to 2 today with the public power flag hanging. In case we knew kids were off school today, parents could come down and let their kids just climb around, look around the bucket truck. Unfortunately, it was a little bit rainy and wet, but that was a really great addition for public power. We're just advertising the whole week, putting some things out on social media, using the hashtags We Are Public Power Week. And to cap that all off, we'll be doing a nice, whether it's a write-up or something, publicizing Public Power Week in the newsletter. And there is a really nice table downstairs in the lobby that has a ton of information on public power. And if anyone's interested, there's a Get to Know Public Power that came out from APPA. And it basically talks about what is public power? What are the benefits of public power? Why is public power good for your community? And we'll leave this information out past Public Power Week, but a lot of the stuff will then going to be transferring to our website to just try to make it a little bit more knowledgeable of what is public power and why it's so important to the Hatfield community. And that's all for my report. If you have any questions.
I was just noticing in the live wire, the picture of your predecessor.
Yes, Manager DeFinis, or previously Borough Manager Michael DeFinis, won the James Havrilla Public Power Service Award at PMEA, the conference this past September. So he was in attendance and accepted the award.
It's nice to put one of James Ervilla's clients. Like, wasn't he our engineer here?
Yep.
James Ervilla was our electric guy here. It's nice that one's a Hatfield. Or because Hatfield nominated him. That's probably it.
All right, thank you, Jamie. All right, we're going to item 7, new business and discussion items. Item A, resolution 2022, the reimbursement agreement for East Lincoln Avenue Bridge grant.
This is a resolution authorizing me as the borough manager to sign the attached agreement, which would allow us to get the reimbursement for the East Lincoln Avenue project. So right now we're expected to get $1,085,200 back for the bridge. The total project cost is roughly $1.3 million. So, if you authorize myself to sign the agreement, that's just a stipulation with PennDOT that I have to sign it, and then we'll enter in that agreement and should receive the check shortly, or I believe they do direct deposit.
And I have reviewed it. It basically says that we play by the rules, prevailing wage, no discrimination, and things like that. So, I mean, the project's done. It's a reimbursement, so I think we did all that, and Chad also confirmed that we had, not Chad, the guy from the band,
Oh, Chris.
confirmed that we had done everything. right.
Any questions?
That's on for consideration as an action item this evening.
All right, item B, payment request number 2, final payment for the CTP Firehouse Flasher project.
This is payment request number 2 for the Firehouse Flasher. This is just the retainage that they held for the project to make sure that the punch list items were done. I received this request before we knew that the flashers were not working yesterday. So this is not on for consideration this evening. It's on for the regular meeting. So we'll make sure that all items are taken care of before the regular meeting, before we would approve final payment for this.
Okay. Do we want to actually hold that off for another month just to make sure? I mean, electrical problems can linger for a while, so maybe we want to hold it off for another month.
Yeah, I believe they have a maintenance bond, like that they would have to come back and fix anything. I mean, most projects are a year, but I will ask and make sure that if we would approve this at the regular meeting, and an electrical issue happened, how long are they covered? If we give final payment, they might, or would it be best if we hold off? It could certainly be both options.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find out.
Any questions? All right, item C, payment number 1 for the 2022 ADA curb ramp project.
Payment request number 1 from Drumheller is for the 2022 ADA curb ramp project in the amount of $144,139.50. This includes less 10% retainage for the project. The project bid came in, or the original contract cost came in at $160,155. So we're authorizing payment less the retainage for completion of the project. The reason this is on for an action item this evening is they had tried to submit it a couple times and there was just some glitches in their paperwork. So I had talked to the engineer and they had asked, since they completed the project, if we would approve it this evening. And I said, it would have actually been on for last meeting, but I said, yes, we can consider that tonight. Just because there were just minor glitches in the paperwork previously, they submitted multiple times, so just some admin errors.
All right, any questions? All right, new business item D, payment request for the 2022 Roadway Resurfacing project.
This is just a discussion item to bring it onto your radar that we should be receiving payment request number 1 for the October regular meeting. The bid was in at $135,992 for the project. They are seeking substantial completion, but just wanted to put it on your radar that that paperwork should be coming in shortly. I know that there's a couple of punch list items that Steve and Gus have been out there looking at that they have to take care of. I'm not so sure that they will take care of them before we would issue payment, but we would obviously be under their maintenance bond, and or we would keep some of the retainage. They might put it in 2 parts, their payment.
Any questions? All right, item E, the annual Christmas tree lighting request.
This is the annual Christmas tree lighting request. Grace Lutheran Church had taken over this event from the Hatfield Chamber. Last year, I believe, was the first year that they took it over. They would like to request the usage of Railroad Plaza or Memorial Park for December 3rd at 6:30 to hold the Christmas tree lighting. They are planning on doing something similar as to last year, where they would have pet pictures with Santa at Grace from 2:30 to 4:30. You can go to Grace for refreshments, some games that the Boy Scouts are going to be hosting, some crafts, and everybody all head down to Railroad Plaza. We'll have some songs, and Santa will come in on Borough truck And then there'll be pictures outside if somebody would like to take photos outside with Santa. They will not be going back to the firehouse. So how they had done previous years, where everybody went back to the firehouse for cookies and those things. They're just going to continue as they did last year of having Santa outside. And if somebody would like pictures, they could certainly get those.
Will they have like a picture area set up with like a backdrop and a chair and all that? Is that how they did it last year?
Last year, just because we were coming right out of COVID, they just said, hey, people kind of came up and just did it on their own and then used the tree as, but I can ask Peggy if it's something that like Santa feels comfortable. I think Santa just doesn't feel comfortable with kids on the lap during the winter months and coming out of COVID, and maybe to see what the numbers are this winter, if we are back into COVID or. So I can confirm with her and just see if there will be like more of a designated area, even if it was outside for pictures.
Okay.
Or if it will be just more of the field last
Just out of
year.
curiosity.
Yeah, no, but that's on, gonna be on for an action item next meeting for consideration.
Okay. All right, any questions? All right, we're going to 8 old business.
I do not have any new or old business.
Any other questions before we get to our action items? If not, we'll go ahead and start with our action items. We'll start with A, motion to consider resolution 2022-31, authorizing the borough manager Jamie Snyder to sign the reimbursement agreement with PennDOT for the East Lincoln Avenue Bridge reimbursement grant project.
I move to adopt the resolution.
Second?
I got a motion from Councilor Stevens, a second from Councilwoman Presser. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none, so the motion passes. All right, we got motion, or item B, motion to consider payment request number 1 to Drumheller Construction Company, Inc. for the 2022 ADA curb ramp replacement project in the amount of $144,139.50.
So moved.
I got a motion from Councilor Stevens, a second from Councilor Fagan. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none, so the motion passes. Are we having executive session?
We have an executive session to discuss real estate and one personnel item.
All right, so can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All right, meeting is adjourned.